So we are starting 4.5, solving inequalities using addition and subtraction. We solve inequalities in the same way that we solved equations. So earlier in this chapter, we use inverse operations to get the variable by itself. So our blank is inverse. Example 1, solving and graphing one-step inequalities. So solve x minus 5 is less than negative 3. So just like we did when we solved equations, we are going to draw a line, only instead of drawing it down our equal sign, now we are going to draw it down our inequality. So then we are going to do the opposite of what's happening on the side that is next to our variable. So we are subtracting 5, so the opposite is to add 5. So that way these cancel out. So negative 5 plus 5, that gives us 0. So all that's left on this side is just x. And then negative 3 plus 5, those are different signs, we subtract. And so 5 minus 3 is 2. 5 is bigger, so it's positive. And then we just bring down our inequality. And so when we graph our inequality, so I'm going to rewrite it, x is less than 2. So our number is 2. That's where, so we need to have that on our number line. So 0, 1, 2. And then our circle, it was less than, so that is an open circle. And our arrow is going to point to the left. And the way that I think about this is less than sign kind of looks like an L, which is also the direction and the letter L for left. And then also what's nice is if your variable is on the left, then that symbol kind of looks like the arrow of our graph going to the left. So those are a couple of ways to remember it. So we go to 2, we have an open circle at 2, and we are going to the left. So what this means is that every answer that is less than 2, so every number less than 2 makes this inequality true. And so there's not just one answer to our inequality, we have all the numbers that are less than 2, and that makes that statement true. So let's do another one. So we have x plus 14, and so we need to draw our line, forgot to do that. Since we are adding 14, we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to subtract 14 to get x by itself. 14 minus 14, 0, so these cancel out, and I'm just left with x. And then 13 minus 14 is negative 1. Now what I want you to do is rewrite this so that way x is on the left side. So right now negative 1 is on the left side. So to do this, we have x and we flip our sign. So do you see how the open sign or the open side is closer to our x? So we're going to flip it so that way the open side is still closer to our x. And then negative 1 is now on the opposite side. And what this does is this tells us the direction, so that is a greater than or equal to sign, and it looks like our arrow that points to the right. So our arrow is going to point to the right. Our number is negative 1. Our circle is closed this time because it has that equal sign underneath. So now I'm going to have 0, negative 1, negative 2. I have a closed circle at negative 1, and my arrow is going to the right. And so this is saying that every number, including negative 1, but every number including negative 1 or larger makes this statement appear true. Oops. All right, let's do another example. So we draw our line down that equal sign. We have fractions, but what's nice is they have common denominators, so we don't have to change anything there. So we're subtracting 5/3, so let's add 5/3. These cancel out. 1/3 plus 5/3 gives us 6/3. But we actually know that 6/3, that's the same thing as 6 divided by 3, and that's just 2. So it ended up giving us a whole number, so that kind of worked out. Now again, I want our variable on the left. So I want my variable here. And so the tiny section of our symbol, it's pointing at the x, so we are going to flip that sign. That way it's pointing to the x, and then that way 2 still is next to that open side of our inequality. So now we can use that to say 2 is our number. It's an open circle. And the reason we changed it and we flipped it around was so we could see that that less than sign is pointing to the left. So we are going to go to the left. So I'm going to go to 0, 1, 2. It's an open circle because there's not a line underneath. And I point it to the left. So I want you to do the try-its on your own, and then you'll check your answers with mine.